we just looked at how to move a file into our code folder. And we also looked at how to launch Jupyter from the folder that we wanted to launch it from. So we CD'd into the code folder and then we typed Jupyterlab. So we can also delete files from this position. Now, the Pandas, the PDAD's Pandas IPNYB notebook, IPYNB notebook that I've made available to you. If I double click on that, okay, it's going to open this now. This is a Lab 5.1 Pandas Basics. Okay, so it's set out like a normal notebook. If you're interested in doing something fun, here's something I did yesterday. If you click Extension Manager and then click Enable, and then you search, Dracula, one of these, I think it's this one, click Install. Please note, install Node.js. Oh, okay, it's not going to work on Windows. We'd have to install Node.js for that bit to work. Suppose we could install Node.js. I mean, it's not going to be that tedious, is it? On Windows. Windows install Node.js. Download Node. How to install Node.js and NPM on your Windows system. Download the Node.js installer. Wow, that's enlightening, isn't it? Right. Go to nodejs.download. What do we want? What do we want? The Windows installer. When do we want it? Now, right. So it's an MSI file. It's only 29 meg. Let's hit save. By the way, I've got other good news as well, folks. Next Wednesday, I'm getting 100 meg internet. So no more choppy 240p streams after this. Right. So let's open up the chat in case anybody's chatting to me. Right. Open up Node.js, click OK. Now, Node.js is, well, do we want to go into Node.js today? I don't know. Right, next, automatically install the necessary tools. Gone now. Why not, eh? So, basically, in the past, JavaScript had to be interpreted by a JavaScript engine. Okay, now, you might not realize it, but your web browser has a JavaScript engine built in. Okay, so Google Chrome has a built-in JavaScript interpreter. Firefox has one as well. They're slightly different, but they do the same thing. So up until a few years ago, JavaScript, which allows interactive things to happen on web pages, was only really available to run inside a web browser. But someone had the clever idea of building a JavaScript interpreter that would allow you to build applications outside of press any key to continue, outside of kind of web frameworks and stuff. So I swear I'm pressing any key. Oh, don't know what happened there. Oh, look at this. PowerShell's open. Isn't this fun? Right, so this is installing Chocolatey, which is just like a command line installer type thing. This might make my audio or video break up a wee bit. But it says, look at this, Python is not installed. I can see this going very badly, right? We'll let that run, along in the background, okay? So let me just close some of these other Jupyterlabs because these are old sessions, all right? Let's just tidy things up here. Documents not found, go away, leave page, you go away. Download Python, we don't need that anymore. We've got Python. So let's do go away. Download Node.js, we don't need that because we've got that. Right. So here we have just one kind of clean. Oh, wow. Okay, so let me just shut down the kind of side panel here. We'll go back to our old view. Okay, so I've also provided on the Moodle for today a file called world_countries.csv, which is here. Now, if I double click on that, we can preview it using Jupyterlab. So let's have a look at that. So there we go. So this is a simple file. It's a comma delimited file, and it has 4 columns. The first one is a 2-character code to identify countries. So for example, Albania is AL, okay? Andorra is AD. Some surprising ones probably. China is CN, okay? Then we have the longitude and latitude. Then we have the country name, okay, in column 4. So what we're going to do to practice with Pandas is we're going to try and interrogate this CSV file and try and pull bits out of it, which is the key, which is what we want to be able to do. So let's just close the launcher here. Maybe we can move that over a wee bit. If we do view, undo show left sidebar, this will give us the full screen, okay? So first thing we're going to do is test to see if the file exists using my handy little if file exists code. So let's do control return. Okay, so false, doesn't exist. So we need to give the path. Now, we know that the path is something like, I'm going to try and guess it. Okay, so let's do C:\/ default user /documents /code /world countries. Let's try that. That's still false. So let's go to our file manager here, right click on world countries and go properties. Now, here we see that it's C:/users, and look at this big long name, desktop ER . So let's copy that, okay? And then let's go here and let's just pop that in there, Control V. Now, watch out, because we're missing a wee slash there. So now let's try and run this and see what happens. Oh, it doesn't like it. Something about truncated Unicode can't decode bytes in position 2.3. Line 4. C users, default user, documents, code, world countries. So, slashes are wrong. Should they be the Linux way? The slashes. Oh, okay, interesting. Right, let's go the other way then. Going the other way. Right, didn't realise we were batting for the other team. Right, hang on. Let's go this way. Let's go that way. Let's go. Well, that's handy because that's how it is on every other system. Oh, true. Right, there we go. Okay, so now we've got the file, right? And we know that Python can see the file. So let's move down to the next part of the notebook. Right, so let's take this path, okay, and just pop it on the clipboard because that's quite handy, isn't it? So let's do, now, if you do copy cells, it'll copy the whole cell. See if you highlight it and just do Control C, it'll just copy that text. Okay, so let's fire her in here. Control V. Honestly, this phone's going 9 to the dozen. What is it? Oh, right. I'm going to have to put my phone on silent. It's literally like silent. 100 people messaging me. Okay, right, that's bad. Stop distracting me. Okay, so here, okay, we're going to import pandas as PD. Now, I've deliberately not installed pandas on this machine so that we can fix that as well. So let's run this, give this a wee run here. Right, okay, so no module named pandas. What can you do, eh? No module named pandas. So let's grab our CMD shell and let's do a new. So let's do CMD, okay, pip install pandas. Don't know if this will work. Let's try that. Collecting pandas, says Windows. Downloading NumPy as well. That's handy. We might need that next week. Collecting NumPy and Pandas. Installing. Okay. So we'll leave that running. Let's go and see how Node.js is getting on. Python is not installed. Installing Visual. Oh no, we don't want Visual Studio Tools. I'm going to kill that because I don't like the idea of that. I want a Visual Studio on my computer. Malware. Right, so it looks like NumPy has installed, okay, and Pandas at the same time. So let's jump back to our Jupyter notebook. So we're importing Pandas as PD. Then we're going to create a file called a variable called df, okay, data file. And df is going to be equal to pandas.read CSV, and then in brackets we're going to put r, and then in quotes where the file is, and then we're going to print df. So let's do that. Interesting. I wonder if that worked. Now that's better than last time. Okay, that's better than last time. Is Pandas fully installed? Maybe. Okay, so that should print something out. So if that doesn't run, we may have to restart the Python kernel in the background. So let's go kernel and then just restart kernel. Restart the kernel. Let's see what happens. Probably broke it. I've probably broken the whole thing installing Node.js, but let's try it now. Come on, run. Okay, so I'm unsure why that's not printing out. Pandas.read CSV, and then we've got the CSV in brackets there, and then we're doing print df. I don't know why it's not printing out. Anyone in the chat like to propose any? Oh, someone just
hear me,
turned. I can.
Is it the R at the start of the?
Well,
maybe, I don't know.
Let's try taking that away. That usually just means read, but let's try without that. No, it doesn't like it. I'm wondering. Okay, I'm wondering if we can just accept that it's not going to work and move on. Let's move on to the next bit. Right. How do we pull a single column out of the CSV? Let's just try and see what happens here. Doesn't seem to like it at all. I wonder what's happened. So could it be that because we're using Windows, we have to restart the computer because we've just installed something? Could that be a possibility? We can do interrupt the kernel, restart the kernel again. Let's try it again. No click on CMD. Click on CMD. No click on CMD. At least it's not giving us an error anymore. Oh, look, right, okay, so it's happy that Pandas is installed. I'm just wondering if it's not gonna, be nasty about it. Maybe we need to restart Jupyter. Let's try restarting Jupyter altogether. So let's shut down the browser, leave page, Control C to kill this, Control Z, Control D, Control C. Let's just close this down. Right. So let's go. Should I reboot the computer? I might as well. I've given it 8 gig of RAM. Is it going to make me do right? Got to be careful here. Updating, just restart without updating. And here we are, right? So now we're back. So let's turn off last modified column. So now we can see. And since we installed Node.js earlier, let's try and install Dracula again. Let's give this a wee shot. Oh, look, someone called Ivan Dalt. Right, I think it's this one that works. But yeah, it gives me an error about Node.js. Oh, no, hang on. Look at this. It doesn't work with that version. Let's try this one. Bet you this gives me a similar error. So that means that this one's going to work. It's the Ivan Dalt version that works. Probably going to give me an error too. Right, so what is it saying? Doesn't support this version of Jupyter. Okay, so see if you type, what I wanted to show you is if you install Node.js and you type themes, right? Theme. Look, there's all sorts of fun themes here. So I found a fun one the other night that was like, oh wait, look, this guy's got theme Dracula here. You use trial and error. Trial and error is the best way to do programming. The best way to do computing is trial and error. You just try something, doesn't work, you try someone else. Doesn't work, you try someone else. The people who are good at this stuff are the people who have just tried over and over again, hundreds of times more than you. Those are the people that win, the people who are persistent, right? So that's got an error. So basically we can just, what I'm saying is there's some nice themes and extensions available if you can get them to work. So honestly, the thing you do when you're programming, right, is, oh, something came up there. A build change is needed. Rebuild, right? So something will now pop up and it will say rebuild or whatever. And then we'll have this theme Hail inspired by Night Owl, whatever it is. So yeah, when you're programming, you just run, you run it. Doesn't work, you run something else. Doesn't work, you run something else. You just keep running it, keep going. Eventually, something will change, and then you stop, and you're like, what happened there? Right, try this, try that. That's honestly the way to just get in, get stuff done. All right. I mean, there's another approach where you could try and go and read a 400-page book, but I think we're going to learn by doing. Right. So let's go back to the file manager and let's open up our notebook. Okay, so luckily the path's still there, so let's just check that still works. True. Okay, so is this going to work? I should feel like we should have a vote in the chat if this is going to work or not. Does anyone think that this is going to work? No, no one does. Right, let's try it on. Yes. Oh, it worked. I forget that when you're using Windows, you have to restart the computer every half an hour. All right. So, like, I don't know how people do gaming and stuff on Windows because you have to reboot your computer at least every day. I've got a Raspberry Pi sitting over there that's been up for 200 days. Never had to reboot it. And I bet you I could get Jupyter working on it and Pandas working on it without any of this. Oh, reboot. Right. Okay, so here we go. So now we've read in a file as DF, right? Data file to Pandas. So now we're going to move further down the notebook. This bit works, move on. Let's just see how our wee theme installation's going on. So now, it looks like it's still, if I go to settings and go theme, what will happen is new themes will appear here. I found a really funny neon one the other night that I'll show you on my actual computer, not on this virtual machine. Right. So let's have a look now. Let's say that we understand that, let's just open up the file so we can visualize it. We understand that column 1 is called code with a capital C as the header, right? So if you recall back to our days of doing R, we had a specific syntax that could pull out a single column. And that syntax in Pandas is we do print, okay? Then we say inside the print function what we want to print. So data file, print the data file. Then we want to put a search, okay? A subset. So we're going to open square brackets and we're going to put in quotes the column we want to print. So let's do that. And there we go. There's just the code column there. Okay, that's just the code column. Now, let's say we want to print 2 columns. Okay, you would think, oh, well, you can just do code and then you can do comma. No, you can't. I tried that yesterday. It doesn't work. What you've got to do is you put comma and you put the other column, but you need 2 square brackets if you're going to do more than 1 column, right? So let's run that. There we go, right? So that's given us 2 columns there. Now, see these 3 wee dots here? What that means is, right, that's row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, ... Loads of other rows, and then this is giving you the end, all the way up to row 244, Zimbabwe. Okay, 3 columns, 3 brackets, no. 1 column, 1 set of brackets, more columns, more sets of brackets. Oh, by the way, the theme's downloaded. Let's save and reload. Funny if it just never worked again. That's it. Okay, so here we go. Right, we're back. Now, if I go settings, theme, look at this, the Jupyterlab Hail theme. Look at that. Now, if you like, so if you like themes, there's loads. I found a funny one, a disco one the other night. So let me stick it back on dark anyway. There you go. There's a wee demonstration how to use the plugin installer over here. So let's do view and take away the left sidebar. So we've got the full screen to the notebook, right? So now let's say, okay, we want to do something more than just print out a column. So let's say we wanted to take a column such as the longitude column here, okay, which has numeric data in it, and we wanted to sum that column, right? So what I'll do is I'll give you a wee demo on how to do it. I'm going to add a new cell. So let's just click here and do plus, and this will give us a cell down here. Let me move it up to the middle of the screen, right? So here's our cell. So let's just check that the data file is going to print. Let's do print df, right? So let's do controls up, right? So that's printing the whole file, okay? So now let's say we only want to print 1 column of the file. Let's open up our square, not around our square brackets. You just need to press 1 that way, and it'll do the 1 on the other side for you. Same with your quote, press 1, and it does 2 for you. So let's do longitude. Right, now let's do control return, and there's that coming out. Now, how do we use an additional function on this? So we're already using, well, we're using print, right? The print function, that's just global. But this df thing here, right? These square brackets, that is a pandas, that's a pandas thing, a pandas search. So let's say, right, we want to do something to this data that we have here. If we put dot here, right, we can then say, now do another function to this. Okay, so I'm going to type dot sum, and see how it's come up in blue. That means that's going to be something more than and then that. And then if I do control return, okay, now that's not worked because we're doing print at the moment, all right? So I'm just going to go and check my exact syntax here. Right, so because we're doing print, that's a little bit too confusing for it, I think. So let's create a new variable, okay? So instead of just printing this out, let's do my sum variable is equal to df.longitude.sum. Okay, then if we go down here and do print, okay, my sum. See, on R it would be telling you, it'd be like popping up while we helper, wouldn't it? Variable. Okay. Oh, what's this? It's the sum of the items in that column. Isn't that easy? Now, see this sum here? That sum can be other things. Mean, right? I'm just guessing them now. Let's guess one. Max. Oh, look at that. Let's guess another one. Min. Minus 75. So let's jump onto Google here, okay? And let's do pandas get sum of column. Pandas dataframe.sum. Right. What does that mean, dataframe.sum? Okay. Dataframe.sum means, like, the name of your data frame. So our data frame is called df, right, conveniently. Then if you put .sum and then brackets, right, it will sum your data frame. Okay, now look at all of these things down the side here. All of these are all functions that we can do on a data frame. See how it's got pandas.dataframe, that's the first function. But then dataframe.index, dataframe.columns, dataframe.datatypes, dataframe.info, dataframe.values, dataframe.size, dataframe.shape, dataframe.stuff. Okay, so once we have the data read into Pandas, Pandas understands the structure as a data frame, df, we can do all of this stuff to the data with Pandas.